The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Reaper Apparel Company. Reaper Apparel offers a casual line of superb fit, finish, and comfort. We design for those who refuse to die slowly and choose to live untamed. For those who aren't afraid to face the dark, for the ones that thrive in it, and for those who can appreciate life through a grim lens. That's Reaper Apparel Company. Go to the link in the description of this episode, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Tactical Brotherhood, all American-made apparel, which helps support the Second Amendment. You can also find all this in the description of this episode with the link Tactical Brotherhood. Part of every proceed does go to helping veterans. It is a very good cause. All American-made products made right here in Minnesota. Go and check them out. Use the promo code PATRIOT15 to get 15% off your purchase. The Ride Home Rants podcast wants to thank you for listening and let everybody know that we do offer monthly subscriptions to help support the show in other ways other than listening and downloading each episode. What you will get with each subscription is you will get bonus episodes that aren't released to everybody. You will also have a chance to ask me anything each and every month where I will put out a special episode just to answer your questions. You will also get more exclusive content that is not released to everybody. To subscribe to the show, go and click on the link in the description of this episode, and I look forward to your added support and to help us keep this show going. The Ride Home Rants podcast is also brought to you by Buddy's Beard Care. Buddy's Beard Care provides premium men's grooming products at an affordable price. Products are made in Ohio, and Buddy's Beard Care supports local. The majority of our supplies are from other Ohio-based companies. You can find them on social media at Buddy's Beard Care or online at buddysbeardcare.com. Use the promo code BONO15 and he will save you 15%. I've been using these products for a little over 6 months now, and my beard has never felt healthier. It has never grown faster, and according to my wife, it has never felt softer. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by former guest of the show in Matt Landowski in Sweet Hands Sports. Elevate your game with Sweet Hands Sports. Our sports gloves are designed for champions, providing ultimate grip and durability. Achieve greatness with every match. Choose Sweet Hands Sports for the winning edge. Grip your victory at sweethandsports.com. Use the promo code BONO10 and he will save you 10%. He has sent me a complimentary pair of golf gloves. They are so comfortable, durable, and breathable. You won't find a better pair of gloves out there. Again, sweethandsports.com, promo code BONO10. Lastly, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by Deemed Fit, a clothing company from first responders for first responders. These products are so comfortable. They look great. They have great messages on them. They are provided to support first responders, especially those who worked through COVID. All of the proceeds are going to helping veterans and first responders with their mental and physical health. This is a great cause. I support anything that has to do with our first responders and our veterans. Again, deemedfit.co, promo code Mike Bono will save you 20%. Now, let's start the show.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Ride Home Rants podcast. This is your favorite special guest host, Fitty, and today I bring you an outstanding episode with a great panel of guests, literally coming from all over the country, from all types of backgrounds. Today we have the All Things Track and Field show, and what a better show to have in the month of March. We have track season right around the corner for all of us track fans out there. A lot of us are going to talk about our personal experience today in coaching and being a former athlete at the high school and college level. Before we jump into the show, though, make sure you peep all the sponsors in the pre-roll and the post-roll, as all of these sponsors are small business owners who are great sponsors of this show, and we can't have Ride Home Rants without them, and, of course, all you fans. So without further ado, we're going to jump into the All Things Track and Field show. I have some great guests today. People who have competed at the high Division I level, people who have tried out for the Olympics, record-setting coaches, champions all around in every single event. We're going to dive right into it. So, everyone, thank you so much for being here. We're going to have you introduce yourself. Tell us what your favorite salad dressing is, and then what city and state are you from originally? So let's start with Jose.
My name is Jose Jefferson. My favorite salad dressing, I'm a ranch guy, and I hail from Omaha, Nebraska.
Perfect. Lauren?
Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Lubarski. My favorite salad dressing would be probably a cilantro lime, and I am from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Chris?
My name's Christopher Marsco. Favorite salad dressing, got to go with Italian, playing it safe but consistent. And I hail from Cortland, Ohio, in northern Trumbull County. Some may know Warren, some may know Youngstown. And if you don't know Youngstown, Cleveland.
Kind of far off, but I dig it, Chris. I dig it. Byron?
Byron Mayers. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a weirdo. I don't eat salad, so I don't have a favorite salad dressing.
You don't eat salad at all?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay.
I can't do it. Too healthy. Too healthy for me.
Wings.
Okay.
But I'm from St. Clairsville, Ohio.
Okay. Coach Upton?
My name's Andy Upton. Favorite salad dressing, I'll go with blue cheese. You can put it on chicken wings too, Byron. And I'm originally from Hurricane, West Virginia.
Okay. Colin?
Hey, I'm Colin Pope. My favorite salad dressing right now is probably French. And I am from a small town just outside of Youngstown, Ohio.
Okay. Aaron? Fry, you're on mute.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. My name is Aaron Fry. My favorite salad dressing is just original. I'm like ranch. I like ranch. It's very original. And I'm from a small town, 30 minutes east of Pittsburgh, called Vandergrift, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And we had our last guest, Austin, jump on. Austin, we're going to just introduce yourself. What's your favorite salad dressing and where are you from originally?
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Austin Dudley. Favorite salad dressing, ranch. And then I'm from South City, St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. Ranch is the big winner on the salad dressing. I'm actually an oil and vinegar guy. You know, being Italian, you grew up on the oil and vinegar on the salad on Sundays. So I'm definitely an oil and vinegar guy. Actually had that tonight. It was very healthy until I ate the grilled cheese right next to it. Not so healthy. So we're going to dive right into the topics here. So we're going to go Jose, Lauren, Chris, Byron, Coach Upton, Colin, Fry, and Austin. And we're going to kind of go through these. So just on this one, did you run track in college? And if so, where did you run? And what event did you do? Jose?
Yes, I went to University of South Dakota, and I was an All-American in the 5,500 long jump, triple jump, high jump. I did the 4x1 as well.
Okay. Lauren?
Hi, guys. So I went to East Carolina University, which is a Division I school in North Carolina because there's no East Carolina. But I threw the javelin, I high jumped. I did the heptathlon for a little bit. I threw the discus, but I was an All-American in the javelin throw, top 2 all time at my university in the high jump. I threw the discus, oddly, in college, but was also a national and state champion in high school. So knowing that I kind of dropped that event once I got to college after my first year. It's so wild how it all planned out, but I would say I identify as a javelin thrower and a high jumper at this point.
Okay. Marsco?
I mean, I guess one of these things is not like the others. I have no collegiate athletic experience other than getting to coach football at Youngstown State for 3 years. But my track career got underway at we were a good small school, Lakeview High School. I threw shot put and discus. Wasn't good enough to go anywhere, but real solid for the school and division we were at. So,
okay, Byron.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to run at Bethany College, thanks to my man Andy Upton up there. When I was there, I basically did all the sprints, 4x4, 4x1, 4x2, 200, 100, and then indoor was all the short relays, short sprints.
Okay. How about you, Coach Upton?
I actually did not participate in track and field in college. I happened to go to a college, West Virginia Tech, that did not have track and field at the time, and ended up playing college football there at a small Division II school in Montgomery, West Virginia, before I graduated, left West Virginia Tech, and ended up getting my feet wet at West Virginia Wesleyan, where I started my track career as a young coach many years ago.
And when he says many years ago, it just means like maybe 5. So
6.
Yes. Okay, we'll go with even 6. So Colin, how about you?
Yeah, so I unfortunately did not get the opportunity to throw at the collegiate level. I was a shot put and discus thrower for my high school, Lovo High School, just outside of Youngstown. And like Fiddy said at the beginning here, I did at one point hold the school's record for discus, which has now been rebroken again since I've been graduated.
So how about you, Fry?
So I ran at Bethany College, was recruited. Basically, I was a football player recruited. I talked to Coach Upton, and he was like, hey, you want to come out and jump for me? I ended up doing track for 3 years and was predominantly a high jumper and a long jumper.
Okay. How about you, Austin?
Yeah, I ran at Webster University in St. Louis, and I did both indoor and outdoor track. I did 800 all the way up to 5K.
Okay. And then I, of course, ran for Coach Upton many years ago, mainly just 5 years ago. I like to still think I'm like in my 20s. But no, a long time ago. My main things were the javelin and long jump coming in, and Coach Upton convinced me to run the 200, so I did that and did a little bit of everything else under the sun, which we'll kind of talk about here a little later. So next one we want to kind of go into is, a lot of us have some type of background in coaching or being involved outside of being an athlete in track. So that's what we're going to kind of get into. So, are you currently or have you coached track and field, previously? So, Jose?
I coached high school track for 5 years, and I coached college track for 6 years. And in between that, I had a career coaching football, 10 years of high school, 3 as a head coach, 12 years of college, 14 years indoor football. And I did internships with the Packers and the Vikings, and I spent 2 years in the XFL.
And Jose, what college did you coach at again?
I coached at the University of Wisconsin lacrosse, and I was there 2 years coaching football and track. And then I was the assistant athletic director and then director of jumps for Viterbo University in lacrosse.
Okay. I'm sure maybe at some point, maybe you and Coach Upton have crossed paths against one another.
You might have.
Yeah, you might have. How about you, Lauren?
Sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. But yeah, I've actually helped a lot of local athletes in the area here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania with their track and field expertise. I've gotten an opportunity to work with a lot of athletes that now are throwing javelin in college and high jumping. One of my previous athletes, I actually was coaching her in the volleyball. And she asked me to give her some private javelin lessons, and now she's actually throwing at Louisville. But I could say that, it's the thing that just keeps on giving. Definitely, if you know how to do something, you can definitely return the favor and just keep promoting this sport in different ways with like the youth athletes. But I could just say personally, it's just been such a great opportunity to be able to give back, regardless of how that they even operate or how far they throw. But yeah, I've been able to coach a little bit.
Awesome. How about you, Coach Marsko?
Hey, so I'm a football coach by trade. This will be my 11th season on the sidelines coming up in the fall. This spring will be my 4th year as a track and field coach in the Mahoning Valley. I've also spent 3 years as a junior high basketball coach. That's a lot less publicized, and that's a good thing. But yeah, and I really I enjoy track because there's a lot of symmetry with football, and a lot of the same athletes, and enjoying it myself. It's really I don't know, like everyone's mentioned so far, very rewarding to get to see, PRs and just the kind of different work. You get the team aspect, but it's also the individual thing too. So very unique.
Absolutely. How about you, Byron?
Yeah, so I'm going into my fourth year of coaching. I did 3 years at a school called Buckeye Local, where I did 1 year as an assistant. Then I was 2 years as the head boys coach, where I was helping rebuild the program. And then this past year, I had another job opportunity, which I took, and I'm currently at St. Clairsville High School, where I am on as a assistant sprint coach.
Okay. Well, I guess for the most seasoned guy here, Coach Upton.
Don't know if it's a good thing, bad thing. Experienced, yeah, we'll say that. I am starting my, I guess, 27th year coaching. 24 of those, 23 of those, I was involved in college football and track and field at the same time. All said and done, I've been, but I think 26 years as a track and field coach. Been at W&J for the last 2 years. Before that, I was 19 years as the head coach up at Bethany College. And like I stated earlier, I was 5 years before that at West Virginia Wesleyan College as well.
Okay. How about you, Colin?
Yeah, so no official coaching experience for me. I suppose the closest I could say I've gotten is assisting with the junior high track and field team. Just if my memory serves me, we're going back in the archives a little bit, but
Colin, you know what? You always used to, you worked the track meets for us back in the day after you graduated. So that was a long time ago, though.
Out giving pointers, that kind of stuff. So,
how about you, Fry?
I have. So I spent 1 year coaching at Bethany College as a GA, and then I got on at my old high school, Kiski Area High School. Ended up coaching football and track there for 5 years before I moved to Wilmington, Delaware. I had a couple coaching opportunities out here, but just because my daughter's so young, I didn't kind of seize those opportunities. So eventually when she gets older, I'll get back into that coaching field.
Okay. How about you, Austin?
Yeah, I've helped at some high schools coaching, and then I used to assistant coach at Cuyahoga Community College. And then currently right now, I just freelance a little, help some ultra marathon runners build some plans. So
okay. So I coached for a number of years. I gotta really think now, as I am digging into the archives for myself. 5, 6, 8. So 12 years for football, 8 for track and field. Had a chance to coach with my mentor here, Coach Upton. You got a chance to coach a couple people on the call here, and coach with some people too. So a lot of awesome experiences there. And fun fact, Coach Upton can back me up, I was the interim head coach twice for Bethany College for a total of 1 hour on 2 different occasions.
1 hour, best hour.
I was.
Yep.
Besides being married, that was like the best hour of my life, being the head track and field coach at Bethany College, because I hadn't have to answer to anyone. Everyone had to answer to me. It was a great feeling. So next thing I want to go into, in all seriousness, is the greatest track accomplishment you have as a coach or an athlete. So you can just, really pick one depending on, what it is. I'll kind of let all of you think about this. I'm going to answer this first. I'm going to say probably the greatest accomplishment I had in track and field was when I set the Bethany record for most events in one meet under Coach Upton at our first ever mini meet in 2010. I ran the 100, 200, 4x1, 4x4 through the javelin, the shot put, and I long jumped that day. And I PR'd in 4 of those, set season bests in 2 of them, and placed in 3 of them. So that was probably my proudest accomplishment in one meet. Even though there's a lot of proud accomplishments as a coach, that was probably my proudest accomplishment as a athlete. So Jose, we'll start with you, and I hope you say when you made to the Olympic trials, but
no, that really wasn't. I mean, it was a nice honor to. I mean, you earn it; nobody gives it to you. But a lot of that was amazing. I enjoy coaching. I coached a kid at Viterbo who ended up being 5th at indoor nationals, U.S. indoor nationals, the pro circuit, and and he started out as a 21-3 long jumper. And when I got done with him at the end of his 4th year, he was a 25-2 long jumper. So that was probably the best accomplishment as a coach, as a athlete. The Olympics was, I mean, the qualifying was fun, but the one I take the most pride in is that I graduated high school with all of our freshmen and varsity jump records, high, long, and triple. I qualified for state in all 3, and I placed in all 3, and I almost won all 3, but there really wasn't any jumper. I don't even know if anybody has done that now. I know in the state of Nebraska, nobody has, to where they have all their jump records at their school before they graduated. And, it's just something that I've always held on to, just to be versatile as a jumper.
Okay. That's awesome. How about you, Lauren?
So I know you asked for one, but I would like to describe like my high school and college, because I feel like it's like 2 different versions of me as an athlete. Sure. So in high school, I won the state and national championship for the discus throw, and I was not projected to win in that event at all. I was actually more projected to win in the high jump and or javelin. So for me to win in another event was really eye-opening for me and everybody else, which that was a really cool accomplishment. And then going into college, I was a freshman All-American in the javelin throw, which I broke the school record my freshman year at our conference meet. And I made it to Eugene, Oregon, to the last round for NCAAs. And I placed in the top 15 in the country. And I was only a couple meters off from the world standard and USA Olympic standard that freshman year. And I went from being literally trash at the beginning of the year, where they always break you down to build you up. And so we rebuilt my form. So you had to get better before you got you had to get worse before you got better. And so I really didn't have the hope that it was going to get better before the end of the season, because it usually is 2 seasons for a javelin thrower. And lo and behold, in Houston, Texas, I just threw this bomb of a throw that just qualified me for all these things. So, yeah, I All-American as a freshman, broke the school record, which I still have at ECU. And then I was a national champion in high school on the discus, which I didn't even continue to do really in college anymore, which is wild.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And go Pirates. So, how about you, Marsco? What's your greatest accomplishment here as a mighty discus and shot put thrower or a coach?
And so probably one of each. So is an athlete at Lakeview High School. My sophomore, junior, and senior year were what would that have been, 10th, 11th, and 12th straight conference and titles. We also won the county like 4 years in a row by the time I left, and getting to contribute on a team where we were that well balanced with sprinters, jumpers, distance, me, my buddy throwing. It was just really well-rounded, fun group to be around. We really pushed each other regardless of what the event was, and kind of always remember that, and a good camaraderie. As a coach, though, Matt Keeley, who's now a offensive guard at Youngstown State, he had not thrown shot put until the spring of his junior year, and I finally talked him into going out for it, and he improved from picking it up, throwing 30-something. I believe he finished around like 42 or 43 feet, just worked at it meticulously, and when you have raw tools and you pour the effort into it, and you get the guidance. I mean, I don't think I'm elite level coaching, but I do know a few things, and it was cool to be able to see some of the things I learned from my throwing coach, Dave Denman, pass it on to someone with a lot more God-given talent than me. And, by the time he was a senior, he was up near 50. So that was probably my biggest accomplishment as a coach.
Okay. Chris, what year did you graduate from Lakeview?
13. 20.
Okay. So Colin probably threw against Chris at some point, probably as well.
Yeah, got to throw against Billy Price first meet every year at Fitch, so that was pretty cool. I was like in the shadow; they didn't even really see me standing at the ring. So
Yeah, I never felt so small as whenever you have to throw against Billy Price. So
yeah,
there's a reason that's why he was in the NFL. Just throwing that out there. So, Byron, how about you? What was that proudest moment for you in track?
Well, I would say as an athlete, probably would be my senior year, making it to the state meet in the 100. That was a goal that I had right after my junior year, and me and my sprint coach, we worked all off season to get me there, and it was just an amazing experience. Also, kind of add in to college wise, Coach Upton's probably going to chuckle about this one, but probably one of my favorite memories was breaking our 4x2 record for indoor at Baldwin Wallace. Kind of just add some info. I was just a pup, in his words. It was my freshman year, and I was fortunate enough to run with some dogs. There was 3 dudes on our squad. They were elite level runners and jumpers, and here I am, just a small town kid, being able to run with them. And so we was able to beat that record, and pretty cool experience. Coaching wise, kind of having the opportunity to build a program was really nice. Probably my 2 favorite memories. One, I got to send a brother-sister duo to states. One was a senior, the other one was a junior. They both made it in the 400. And then actually seeing the sister, she went and signed to run Division I at Marshall. So she was actually all in on basketball, and I kind of persuaded her and showed her how fun track is, and now she's actually a conference champion in her freshman year as well.
Very cool. Part of the Thundering Herd. So, Coach Upton, now this is going to be really hard for you. So you got, 3 of your former athletes on here. So don't offend any of us.
I would have to say, it is hard. 20-some years of coaching, like I said. You asked that question, there's a lot of memories that start popping in, and, there's probably a tie of about 100 of them. And I could, pick any out of it. Just hearing these stories gets kind of cool. Hearing every single one of you say something, it just brings back awesome memories for me and great moments that have happened. And I would say, grouping all of them together, I think it's really cool. And I'm sitting here on a podcast with 3 people that I coached, that they've decided to carry it on to the next level and continue passing on that, maybe something I instilled in you all that you want to keep passing on. But it's, if I had to go a proud moment, I would take, there's so many of them, from conference championships to individual championships, conference championships as a team. Very proud of those. But to reflect back on probably my last 2 years and kind of group it all together, to have my last season at Bethany, to take a female jav thrower to the national championship when she hadn't been there before, and then to go to W&J the very next season and take, be a part of 2 distance runners going to the cross country NCAA championships. Carried that right into indoor, where now we've got a long jumper as well as a distance runner. And then, to get to the outdoor where we, take a hurdler. To me, that was kind of just from a reflection from a coaching standpoint, to basically have all basically all event groups kind of represented, and I kind of had my hand in all that a little bit. Was kind of a very cool coaching moment. And when you've been doing this that long, you appreciate every time you make it to those meets or every time you win a conference championship, because there's a lot of years in between those when they happen.
Sure. Okay.
Unless you're coaching out at Wisconsin lacrosse, and you get to do that stuff all the time.
Oh man, Colin, how about you?
Yeah, so back in the day when Johnny was the track and field coach there for us, ended up breaking my school's record for discus, the Western Reserve Invitational that year. That record had been set back in the 60s, and I believe the year I broke it was 2013 or 2014, so pretty long-standing record. Something that I was pretty proud of back then, and got to actually meet the coach and the athlete were both still around that set the original record. So that was really neat, getting to talk with them guys. And then the one that I like to bring up in closed circles all the time is the unofficial 2-time Ironman 4x1 champion. Johnny knows all about the Ironman 4x1, so I'll just leave that one there. But those are two of my favorite memories.
Absolutely. And I will shout out that I had the most athletic throwers ever, because the first year we ran the Ironman relays at Western Reserve, we were the fastest fat man 4x1 in the entire state. We ran 50.4 seconds with our 4 throwers. And Colin stood at a 6'5", 250 pounds at that time. And a couple other throwers were pretty large, and there was one smaller guy. We practiced that for a week. I actually shattered my sunglasses during the 4x1 because I got so mad and slammed them on the ground. But our boys and girls both won that year, and both were ranked like in the area as like one of the better 4x1s for a smaller school. That was our throwers. So very, very proud moment. Thank you, Colin, for reminding me on that. What about you, Aaron Fry? You were part of some badass teams at Bethany under Coach Upton. What's the most proud moment you have from track and field?
Man, it's very tough, just like everybody else. Honestly, as a teammate, an individual, I could go on record to say sometimes I felt like I had more fun doing track than I did football. And so it was always cool to see like everybody else's motivation and what drove them. I seen a lot of good individual accomplishments. Coach Upton, well, I guess they were my teammates, but he coached 2 record-breaking long jumpers who ended up being like I grew really, really close with. So it was cool to kind of jump alongside of them and kind of pick their brains. And what I used from that drove me to kind of, I guess, be a better coach and to kind of instill other things within the people that I coached along the way. And I think one of my biggest accomplishments as a high jumper at Bethany, both indoor, my first time ever doing high jump in a long time, I ended up placing 3rd in the indoor meet. And then my senior year, I ended up placing 2nd. So I was very proud of that. But my happiest moments, we ended up winning the back-to-back championships in the indoor. And I think that was really, really cool to accomplish something that hasn't been done there in a very, very long time. So, I can hold my hat on that and say that was the funnest times I pretty much ever had being up at Bethany and running track there.
Besides becoming friends with Fitty Falcone. So.
Yeah.
Austin, what about you? Round us out on this one.
Let's see. So thinking about it, when I was at Tri-C, it was right around their first year coming back. So the pandemic had made its way through. So started the program back up. We coached and we pulled the team together out of what we could, and they came together and we all won the indoor championship. conference championship. So that to me was a very proud moment. First year there, first year coming back and seeing them all like weren't seeded to win. So it was kind of nice.
Nice. Okay. Next one. Now, some of you will have a lot of time to think about this, others not so much, but you can't explain why or anything like that. You just are going to name the hardest event in track and field in your opinion. So, what is the hardest event in track and field in your opinion? It can be throwing, jumping, relays, whatever it may be. But I'll start this out. I'm going to say it's the 800. Jose?
I would say the 10K.
Okay. Lauren, how about you?
I would say the 800 too. It takes a special person to do that.
Okay. Marsco?
800's a close second for me. I'd say 400 though. You gotta
Okay.
have that freaky speed element still, a little less endurance.
Okay. Byron?
I thought this question was going to happen, and I've been thinking I'm going with the 800.
Okay. Coach Upton?
400 hurdles with 10K right behind it.
Okay. How about you, Colin?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to jump on the bandwagon here and say the 800.
Okay. Fry?
I definitely got to back Coach Upton on this one. Them 400 hurdles or just a different animal.
Okay. Austin?
Yeah, I'd say 400 hurdles and the 10K. Those two alone are just,
Okay. Okay. I'm surprised nobody said the pole vault just because that takes so much strength and technique to go into. But I would say that, yeah, the 10K, the 400 hurdles, and then the 800. Yeah, for sure. All right. So the next one, the craziest weather meet you've ever been a part of. And that's probably a lot for different ones of us because we've ran kind of all over the country. I will say when I was coaching, probably one of the craziest ones I was ever a part of when I was a young assistant coach, and we ran at East Palestine, Ohio, and it literally monsooned the entire meet, and they're running through puddles on the ground. It was very similar, Coach Upton, to PACs in 2021, but at the high school level, and which didn't have great drainage, and people were hitting the high jump mat, and water was exploding up in the air. So that was probably the worst meet I've ever been a part of, with PACs in 2021 being delayed because of the rain as a very close second. So, Jose, what do you got for us?
1988 Nebraska State track meet, rain and hail at the state meet while I was high jumping. So outside of getting pelted, the high jump pit saturated. So when you cleared the bar, all the water came on your head. And then they finally learned and put all the rest of the classes indoors at Boys Town. But yeah, hail, that was different. Rain was one thing, but the hail was it was pea size and it was just bouncing off your head. But I thought for sure they'd cancel it, but it was in the 80s where, they thought we were tougher or not as smart.
You know what? The 80s brought a lot of good things, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Rocky Balboa, especially Rocky IV. A great thing for the 80s. Lauren, how about you? What was that worst weather track meet you were a part of?
I'm going to have to backdate to high school track in Pennsylvania, where I grew up. Clearly, our Pennsylvania springs are not springing right away. So you do get like the weird elements of life of snow, hail, wind. And we were actually at our home meet, and there was like 30 to 40 mile per hour winds. And as a high jumper, you don't want to knock the bar off, but when the bar keeps falling off because of the wind before you even jump was definitely what we were dealing with. And also throwing a javelin into the ground that was frozen, which the weather was just really cold. We had snow and wind. I could just tell you, it was just not a fun time. Oddly, it performed pretty well. And I hate the cold, but I could tell you that the wind combination with also the cold and the snow was not a fun track and field event / meet.
Okay. What about you, Marsco? What would you say?
We always started the track season like end of March, think was our first meet, and our coach never was the one to pull out anything. So I think the meet started in okay temperature. It was at Austintown Fitch. It just they had several shot put rings, and for whatever reason, the one that they picked to use that day was it ended up being like 30-mile-an-hour winds in your face, and then by the time my flight got up, it started to have some light snow flurries, and the official decided he wanted to enforce every rule, so he couldn't be in your sweat. So, trying to just do some burpees and other things to just try to stay warm, hurry up, get out of your sweats, throw, get back in them to stay warm again. And just, being tough with the elements we get dealt up here. So I think that adds a cool layer of challenge to it. But yeah, snow and wind in your face, throwing shots, pretty tough.
Okay. What about you, Byron?
I would say as an athlete, probably either my freshman or sophomore year in college was one of our first few outdoor meets, and we were going to Mount Union. Leaving to it, there's probably at least 6 inches of snow from Bethany all the way up to Alliance. Snow on the ground. They're trying to clear the track for us to start, and probably by 2 o'clock, it was sunshine, and you would have thought it was a normal spring day. So I thought it was just kind of neat. As a coach, basically had a coach in the monsoon. It was a late track meet. Dude, we probably had 30-mile-an-hour wind, just nothing but downpour, and they did not cancel the meet. You just ran your event and just kept.
Okay. How about you, Coach Upton? You got a lot from over the years. Was it West Virginia Wesleyan in the monsoon when only one person triple jumped? Was it PACs in 2021?
I'll piggyback. Before I go to mine, I'll piggyback on Byron's just to add one little thing to Mount Union when we went to that one. As we pulled in, they were shoveling. They did not expect that much snow, and they were shoveling the discus sector to be clear. So basically, there was probably 6 to 8 inches of snow outside of the sector lines, and where it landed was green. So if you threw out of the sector, you were losing your discus. That was the one thing that was really wild as I watched that meet. I would say, Grove City 2019 at the PAC Championships, it was raining. It rained so hard the whole meet that I was one of the coaches. I had a squeegee, some sort of a brush, and I was by the long jump takeoff board, and it was raining so hard the board was floating, and I had to sit there, and I was squeegeeing all the water off the board literally when they started their approach, so we could keep as much water off of it as we could. If I and another coach weren't doing that, then it literally got like a 2-inch puddle before they got to the end of the runway.
Wow. Okay. Colin, how about you?
Yeah, so the one that comes to my mind, and I don't remember what year it was at this point, but it was Mahoning County meet. We were throwing, and it was probably 12 degrees outside. And we back then I was a purist, and I only like to throw in the track tank top and the track shorts. So that little layer of protection on when it's pretty close to below freezing is definitely interesting.
That was your junior year at Canfield. It was barbarically cold, and it was the day before Easter because you actually gave me your Letterman to wear over my stuff because I was so cold.
That's right.
Because your future mother-in-law brought us all coffee and donuts, so because we were so cold.
Yeah,
so,
I remember that now.
Yeah. So you knew back then she was a good woman as a mother-in-law, and your wife was going to be great because that was 12 years ago. So because that was cold. But if I'm not mistaken, you were the runner-up in the discus that year, and I believe you took like 8th in the shot put, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it's because most of the other people were frozen. So
whatever gets the job done, mental toughness. Right, mental toughness. So, Fry, what about you? What's your worst weather experience with track?
Yeah, so my worst weather experience with track, my senior year of high school, we used to run at this meet called the Igloo. It was in Altoona, Pennsylvania. And it always was like the middle of March or like the middle of March or late March when the spring season opened. So we left there. We left Kiski like, it's probably like a 2-hour drive or hour and a half drive by bus. But we're driving up and it's like just a whiteout. And I'm like, man, this is going to be a horrible day for a track meet. But believe it or not, I was a 300 hurdler. And right before my race, which is towards like the back end of the meet, it ends up snowing again. And I'm like, dude, what the hell, man? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, at that point, you just want to just like run, get your clothes back on and find a warm place. But yeah, it was that was the worst weather meet that we ever ran in. It was just snowing and really, really like the wind chill was horrible the whole time.
Gotcha. Austin, how about you? I'm sure you've had some doozies out in the St. Louis area.
Yeah. The worst one that comes to mind is probably in high school. I remember it was first meet of the season, and it was just, I mean, it was a whiteout, basically. The wind was just nonstop. I mean, where we were, the track was basically a wind tunnel too. So you're getting pelted with snow trying to run, and I hate distance events because they're long. So you're on the track longer. You're warm, but you're just constantly being pelted. And you're like, why, God?
I can understand that. I will throw an honorable mention out there for anybody who's ever ran there listening to this. Slippery Rock University. I don't care if it was the middle of July. That stadium is barbarically cold and windy. And Coach Upton will back me up on that. No matter when it is, that stadium is so cold. And it's nothing like waiting at from 10 a.m. after you throw your javelin till 6 p.m. to run the 200 in the 23rd heat of the 200 in the cold. It's nothing like that. So next one, I'm just going to ask Jose and Coach Upton this because they've coached, college track, and I just want to kind of get their opinion. Where do you guys think is that one stadium, and Jose, we'll start with you, or track arena that your athletes somehow performed like way better than really any other place? Does anywhere stand out to you for that?
Drake. I mean, when you go to Drake, you just level up, and it's just how it is. I was fortunate enough to run and coach at Drake, and it's a different beast, just being there. I mean, when I was there as a meager freshman, they threw me into 4x2, which I wasn't a sprinter, and we were in the university class, and I had to run the final leg against Michael Johnson, who was at Baylor at the time. And then you fast forward to my junior year to where I placed third in the open triple jump, and I was the only Division II athlete to do that. So that was special. But as a coach, my 25-footer went there, and he, in the university event, he placed, I think it was fifth. And you still feel the same, and it's just a great atmosphere to go to. I mean, I know they have a football field there, but nobody cares about Drake football, so it's just a great atmosphere.
Okay, Coach Upton, what about you? Your many travels. What's that one stadium that you seem like the athletes always did better than the rest?
I guess I when I look at that, like probably one of the coolest places that, talk about instant atmosphere, instant energy. I'd have to go with an indoor facility, and I go up to the Armory in New York. Just the whole thing, being in New York City, maybe you're taking a subway over to the facility. You just walk in, and just the history of, much, like Coach was talking about right there, when you're talking the Drake relays and stuff like that. I mean, you're just talking about a lot of the history at those venues. And, I always thought the Armory in New York was a very cool place to be at. The kids always seem to love it and do well there. Okay.
So this next one is just going to be for Marsco and Colin here, and then we're going to have everybody else round out this other question here. So we're going to start with you, Marsco, on this. Do you watch the Olympics during track? Do you watch the Olympics when track is on?
Yeah, that's probably the most I watch Olympics, to be honest.
Okay. How about you, Colin?
No, I'd say normally I do not. I'm more of a Winter Olympics guy. I get really into the Winter Olympics. So.
Okay. All right. The next one, we're going to have Austin and Fry, Lauren and Byron answer this one. All right. Give it to us straight. Ice baths. We're going to start with you, Lauren. What's your take on the ice bath? Did you love them? Did you hate them? Or was it somewhere in between?
I actually love them because my body doesn't like to recover, so I'd have to force myself into recovery mode. And I actually still do ice baths voluntarily now as a 31-year-old woman. So, yeah, I'm actually for it. And I also like doing contrast. I don't know if any of the other athletes and people in here would do contrast from hot to cold, and finish up with cold. That one's a good one, too.
Okay. How about you, Byron? Did you love them Coach Upton ice baths?
I did. It was something I kind of started in high school anyways, so I was able to kind of continue that in college. And it was just part of my pre-meet like ritual just to get my mind right. So I had my playlist going. I would hop in after I would get a couple starts and sit in there for about 10, 12 minutes. And just like Lauren, I still do ice baths to this day. I got my cold tub outside and then hopping in, and I do have a sauna as well. So I'm with Lauren with the hot and cold contrast.
Must be you young people stuff to do all that still, because I ain't getting in the ice bath anymore. So, Fry, what about you? What was the ice bath like at Bethany for you?
I loved them. I mean, that was just like Byron said. I mean, that was the focus for me. I always used to do it 2 days before, like we really got into it. I was just weird like that. I was real superstitious. So I was like, I need to do it at least 2 days before. The day before, I never felt good the next day. I don't know why. And then if I didn't have access to an ice bath, I would do contrasting showers as well. Hot to cold, hot to cold. But preferably I prefer the ice bath because I don't know, like the cold water sitting under there for like a minute sucks. I just don't know why, but yeah, I love the ice bath.
Okay. How about you, Austin?
I did them a lot when I was younger. I don't as much. I hate the cold, but also, I mean, there's a lot of, going on right now, theories on should you ice bath, should you not? Is the inflammation good for, the stimulus? So.
Okay. So I will say I did like them back in the day, because way back in the day, way, since I'm like the third oldest person on this, Coach Upton used to make us do them. And when I didn't like him as like a freshman, he told me, well, Rocky did them. So I just got in there and put a bunch of ice in. And I would think about, I was like Rocky Balboa. And if Rocky can do this, anybody can do this. So that's what Coach Upton told me. But also the other reason I would do them is way back then we were doing spring ball and football simultaneously with no days off. So I really needed those ice baths on Friday. So it was really the day before the meet. I'd always do them. But Coach Upton told me if Rocky could do them, I would do them. And Rocky really never did an ice bath, but as a naive 20-year-old, I did it. So there we go. One of the last questions I wanna ask everyone is levels of championship. Now we kind of talked about it a little bit here, but just kind of reiterate it and definitely brag about yourself here a little bit. So what is like the highest level of championship that you won? Did you ever win a team championship, an individual championship, national championship? This is a chance for you to kind of brag about yourself a little bit. So Jose, take it away.
Goodness. High school state champions. I was a 7-time gold medal champion as an individual. We took state 2 years when I was in high school. College, I was I think it was 5-time All-American. I was a multi-year conference champion, and we took conference my junior year indoor and my senior year outdoor. And nationals, I got third. That's probably about the highest, but a lot of, honestly, I mean, and not being, that guy, but won a lot of medals, won a lot of meets, broke a lot of records, and quite honestly, I honestly don't remember them too much. I remember I went to Sioux City, Iowa, and I broke their long and triple jump records as a junior in high school. And then I went to University of South Dakota, which is like 30 miles up the road. And there was supposed to be this kid that was going to break one of my records. And I didn't even know I had the record at the time. And so he came down there and didn't do it. But then I went there and I broke their college record in the triple jump. So, I mean, it just was a good career and a lot of records and things broken. So honestly, the team champions were the best, high school, college, but a lot of individual records that my medals are in a shoebox somewhere. My All-American papers are somewhere. It's just, like I said, it was a lot, and not that they weren't important. It's just, I'm very much a minimalist and live in the present. And you're talking about something that was over 30 years ago. So, no.
I understand. Just wanted to have you brag by yourself a little bit there.
That's
hey,
tough.
I do have a question though. When you qualified for the Olympic trials in a long jump, what did you have to jump?
I actually qualified in the triple jump.
Oh, the triple jump. What did you have to? What did you actually have to triple to qualify?
51.11.
Okay,
and that was back in 1992, and I was on a provision B, and it was not a great thing back then, because when you qualified, they took you to the University of Indianapolis in Indiana, and they get you on. There's nobody there because you're in prelims. They take one of those little electrical flags and they put it in the sand at 50. I think it was 53.5 feet. And you get 3 shots, and they don't even measure it if you don't get close. And then they wrap your bus ticket in your sandwich and say thank you.
Okay.
So impersonal. I mean, because it's not like it is today when you qualify. Sure. I mean, you're at Oregon, and it's a big deal. Back then, I mean, that's long before social media and Huddle and YouTube and all the rest of that stuff. And it was very impersonal. Not that I didn't enjoy it. But it wasn't like, I wish I'd have done that now with social media and everything, because now you blow it up. But sure. That's why it's very humbling when you just see the flag out there. Sure.
Sure. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. So, Lauren, you mentioned it. State champion, national qualifier. Here's your chance to reiterate it all again and brag about yourself a little bit.
It's kind of weird because I also feel like that's a whole nother time in my life that I feel like it didn't really happen, but obviously we did it and we're on this call for a reason. But yeah, just kind of backtracking up, I was a state champion. I was a state individual champion in the high jump, state individual champion in the discus. And then I was a national champion in the javelin throw.
I just think we lost Lauren there, so we'll go back to her. Marsco, what you kind of mentioned it though. What championships did you guys win as a athlete or a coach?
So I was in a unique spot because I was good enough to advance and be top 2 in the events that I was in, but I didn't score the big points. I scored the 1, 2, 3 points, but when you get to those bigger meets, that ends up being the difference. So I always feel like I played my role, just wasn't on as significant a level. But it was very important in my high school. I was part of the 10th, 11th, and 12th straight conference title. We were 4 in a row county champions while I was in high school. 2 district titles, and then came in second in regionals junior year. So a lot of team success. It was really cool. I feel like I rode the coattails of a lot of more premier athletes, but it's cool.
Okay. Chris, just out of curiosity, what was your best? Do you remember your best discus throw?
I want to say it was only 145, 147. It wasn't anything. I look like a T-Rex or an alligator. If I didn't have my form and my speed, I'd be toast. So.
Okay. So, Lauren, sorry we lost you there, but you got to the javelin. You want to finish up from there for us?
Yeah, sorry, I had technical difficulties, but I All-American in the javelin in college, made it to NCAAs my first year, broke school records, but I was training actually after I got done with my collegiate eligibility. I was training for the Olympic trials and worlds, and I actually was able to re-break my personal record. So, but roundabout national and state champion in the high school, also won a state championship with our team, which that was a really cool experience. They always backtrack our high school team that year as the dream team, which they still talk about it to this day. So I was a part of the dream team, but yeah, just a little bit of everything: discus, javelin, high jump, some national championships, some state championships, and also some All-American status.
Awesome. And I will say one thing, and I think Colin will remember this and back me up on this. I think we had a lot of great accomplishments as a throwing group when I was coaching Colin. Multiple county champions, multiple people that went on to districts and regionals and things of that nature every single year. But there was always one team that was right across the border, and that was the Hickory Hornets, where Lauren went. They gave us a run for our money in throwing, especially in indoors at YSU. And Colin, I'm sure you remember that, because it was always like, why are they so good? Why are they so better than us constantly? And we are good.
always better, and never could quite understand.
We were the dream team. What can I say?
So always gave us some problems. But Byron, what about the championships or individuals or anything like that for you?
When I was in high school, I didn't have too many individual champions. My senior year, I was able to break our 100-meter record. I was a county first place winner, and then I placed at the Whippeal meet, qualified for states, just missed the state finals in the 100-meter. Went to Bethany freshman year. Was fortunate to be a part of our indoor conference championship team. My 4 years for indoor, I placed in the 60 and the 200. Outdoor, didn't have the best of luck. I got bit by the injury bug a lot. So outside of that, biggest accomplishment was being part of that indoor conference championship team my freshman year.
Okay. Now, Coach Upton, I know you had a lot of championships and a lot of great things over time. And, in all seriousness, if people don't know, Coach Upton's, I believe, the longest tenured track coach in PAC history for consecutive years as a head coach. I believe, I'll let you brag about yourself, but 10 conference MVPs, multiple champions, multiple national championship qualifiers. But it's kind of just throwing that out there and let you brag about yourself here.
Well, it's kind of hard to follow, a couple other people in here. We have a couple tremendous athletes on this, on this call for sure. Very impressed by hearing all of that. I got to go with Byron. The team championship. It's an awesome feeling. To put that work in with a bunch of people from a lot of different areas, different events, and so winning those team championships at Bethany was that was an awesome feeling. I did have one athlete one time where I had a few kids who went to the national championships that 4 was my magic number. I think 4th was the highest that I've had an athlete finish, but I did have a triple jumper. Now that we're talking triple jump. The irony of it, I had a triple jumper enter the national championships, ranked number 1 in the country at Wisconsin Lacrosse. He was around a 51-foot jumper himself, and things just didn't go our way that day at Lacrosse, and he ended up finishing, I think, 10th. I think he just missed finals, but that was the closest I got to sniffing a national championship as a coach. Okay.
Colin, how about you?
Yeah, so Johnny, you might remember some of this better than me, but I know, I had a couple, won a couple invitationals, runner up at the county meet. I think back then we, missed district qualifier by a couple feet. So not really too much to mention there, but being able to have that record, high school record for a couple of years, that was a major accomplishment, and definitely could say I had a lot of fun during all of it. So.
Yeah, so I believe you won 2 invitationals your senior year, Pie Valley and Grand Valley. With the discus, you set the Grand Valley meet record in the discus. You were a one-time county runner-up, one-time county champion, and you took 5th at districts and Miss Regionals by 1 spot. Because the guy behind you beat you on that. So, Fry, what about you? What are those championships that Aaron Fry was a part of?
I got mentioned previously. My favorite memories were the back-to-back championships indoor. The first year, which I think was Byron's freshman year, we just dominated the meet. I think we won the meet by like 80 points or something like that. And so we kind of, I don't know, it was just cool to just give Coach Upton the little water bath with the water bottles and go ahead and have, one of the best parts about that is it's a fun bus ride home, and that's a lot of the things that you can remember. But the second year was just much tougher. So the first year, I just got to add this in. So I think we entered like 8 high jumpers, and I think 7 of us placed. So we pretty much swept a lot of the points in one event, which I think ended up propelling us in the direction we needed to go. So it was almost like a little loophole. And then the second year, you kind of seen a lot more teams kind of model that. They wanted to kind of sweep and enter a lot of kids in some events where they felt like they could have stole some points. But that meet actually came down to the relay race. And like Byron said, we had a bunch of dogs in that race, and it happened to be our 400-meter record holder who brought it home for us. And right then and there, we needed that. He crossed the finish line, and, it was just another one of those good moments where we got to take pictures at the podium. I have a back-to-back chant, give Coach Upton a little water bath, and Coach Gwen. And then, try to get into the indoor season. And I think we placed second that year. I think we were runner-ups at our home field. And outdoor is much different than indoor, but those 2 championships right there were, definitely the best memories that we had. And for my individual success in those meets, I placed 3rd in both of those meets. And I just felt like I felt so good just being a contributor and being able to put some points on the board for the team. So.
Okay. Thanks for sharing that. How about you, Austin? Round us out on this.
No real national contentions for me. I was plagued with injury a lot, and even if I wasn't, Division III distance runners are some beast runners. Even our regional, for cross country, we're like, okay, we've got WashU. We've got, at the time, every Wisconsin school, and you're like, we're not making it out. So kind of we're just going to do our best in PR, hopefully. So that's how it goes. Just
okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you all of you for coming on and doing the All Things Track episode. But before we go, everybody that's been on the show has been a part of the Fast Fitty 5. Now you're a part of Fitty's Grade 8. And each one of you is going to get a question, and you are going to just give an answer. So we got 8 questions from all over the map. I already wrote them out for everybody. And here we go, if everybody's ready. All right, Marsco, who wins in a fight? 50 Emperor Penguins or me, you, and Drew?
Me, you, and Drew.
For 50 Emperor Penguins, I don't know. That's a lot of 4-foot penguins coming at us.
You're underrating Drew. I think he could do some damage.
Okay. Coach Upton, 3 a.m. You going to the Waffle House or Denny's?
Waffle House.
Colin. Okay, Colin. So most of our guests and listeners may never get a chance to experience this, but what's the biggest dive bar you've ever been in?
George's.
Shout out Georgia City Lights right there. All right, Lauren, what's the most overrated physical characteristic people fall for on someone?
Overrated character. This is a very broad question. I would say probably if they're rich. They think that they're rich and they have all the answers to everything, and it's not the answer to pretty much good people. So I would say that.
Okay. Jose, ketchup or mustard? What is better? It doesn't matter what it's on.
Ketchup. Hands down.
Really? All right. Fry, what's the wildest or funniest or most memorable road trip you've ever been on?
Coach Upton go like this one. This actually is very true too. So we had an ECAC meet going up to Massachusetts. And I drank so much water, I think we stopped every 15 minutes. Yeah, he was like, okay. He's like, "You all right, man?" I'm like, I'm good. I'm just trying to stay hydrated.
Apparently you were overhydrated for that one.
Yeah,
so,
I was. It was nerves too, man.
That's funny. Byron, for you, yoga, overrated or underrated?
Overrated.
Ooh, Byron might catch some heat on that one. All right, and Austin, you're rounding us out on this. One word to describe a whale is?
Well. Well.
Okay, so there's a little bit of fun there on Fitty's grade 8 questions to round out the show. But thank you to all of the guests. Thank you, Coach Upton, Jose, Colin, Byron, Austin, Chris, Aaron, and Lauren for coming on this week's episode of the Ride Home Rants, talking all things track and field, reliving some of our glory days and sharing some of our insight about track for all of you listeners out there. As you gear up for track season and you are seeing the students out in the community, whether it's high school, college, middle school, whatever it is, make sure you support them. It means a lot when people come to the meets and, see them. And I know it meant a lot to us when people would come see us at those meets. So as always, if you like the show, be a friend and tell a friend. And if you didn't like it, tell them anyways, because I bet they like it just because you didn't. This is Fitty signing off, and we will see you next week.
The Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by W Energy. Energy drinks made for gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. For gamers, streamers, and podcasters alike. Go to the link in the description where you can find the best energy drinks out there. Less caffeine than a cup of coffee. Also, no jitters and no crash afterwards. Use the promo code Mike Bono and get yourself 10% off. Also, the Ride Home Rants podcast is brought to you by my favorite sponsor of the show, and that is Shankit Golf. Golf apparel made for the everyday golfer. We might not go out and shoot a 6 under par. We're probably going to shoot a 6 over par, but this is going to give us the gear that's going to help us rock it on and off of the course. Go to the link in the bio, use the promo code Mike Bono, and get yourself 10% off there as well.